All right, folks, here we go. That's right. There you are. That's right. It's that Happy New Year, folks. It's a new year. This is January 1, 2023. And let me pipe the music down. And guess what? And here I am sitting up looking high atop NRG Stadium. And the Houston Texans go down to the Jacksonville Jaguars today, 31-3. And it was as bad as that score indicates. The Texans didn't scratch the scoreboard until the third quarter, about on a 56-yard field goal from Jaime Faber, and that was it. That's the end of the Texans today. But before we get to that, let me just see. Let me bring him. All right, Elvin, how we got it now? How we sounding to you today?
Yeah, we're good now.
All right, we good now. As I was telling the folks, that's right. We got Elvin on the road again. Hopefully, we'll be hooking up. We'll be hooking up in what was it, Glendale or Phoenix, whatever the case might be.
Glendale is State Farm Stadium location.
Yeah, Glendale is the state, but then we'll be roaming around Phoenix and other places during Super Bowl 57. As I was letting the audience know, the Texans today, I mean, this was a very disappointing loss today. Disappointing from the sheer fact that they had played competitive football against two of the league leading Lombardi contending teams, won a game on the road and came home, and they looked like they didn't make bed check last night. That's the way they played today. Yeah. But before we get down into the minutia of this deal, let's go ahead and hit from the sponsors, and then we coming back and we'll chop this thing up.
Hello, I'm Ken Ross with the Ken Ross Insurance Agency. There are certain things that are important in our lives: our health, our safety, and our loved ones. With over 40 years of experience, I've seen just how important insurance can be. I value the importance of being a part of my community and being there when they need me. Insurance is important everywhere, but being here in South Texas, it is absolutely essential. From flood, home, auto, and life insurance, let the Ken Ross Agency be your agency of choice.
Yep, that's right, folks. That's the Ken Ross Agency, 281-235-5957. As he asked, be your agent of choice. He's been my agent of choice for these many years, and I've known him a long time besides being my fraternity brother. But I tell you what, a man of a lot of ethics and virtues, and I tell you what, you wouldn't mind doing business with him. As mentioned earlier, the Texans went down to defeat to the Jacksonville Jaguars. The Jaguars snapped a 9-game losing streak against the Texans. It's hard to believe that the Texans has been as dominant over the Jacksonville Jaguars as they have. But today they snapped that streak today. And before we get with you, Elvin, let's go ahead and get Lovey out the way, because the thing about it, he's always been straightforward, and he come and have to answer the question. I know he gets paid to do that. That's part of his job. But I think today he was about as much exasperated as we were just sitting there looking at it. It was, and it's almost like, what they say, dead man walking. I hate to use that terminology, but that's what it looks like right now. But anyway, let's hear from the coach, and then we're going to get back into it.
Runs. Again, we've been playing better, but today we did. 2 missed tackles would lead to, big plays like that. Offensively, just got to get some points on the board. Never able to really establish the run. Pass-wise, for protection to just the entire passing game, it wasn't our day-to-day. It's kind of simple as that. I'll take your question.
Yep, that's it in a nutshell, Elwin. I mean, the Texans did not show up today. I don't know if they missed bed check or whatever. Your initial comments.
Well, 2 things. You're right. They didn't show up. And I told a couple of friends of mine that had watched the game and were texting me while we were waiting for Davis Mills to come in after Lovey finished his press conference. They texted me and said, "What in the world? What happened?" And I said, "This team today looks like they had never played together ever, and they were getting together for their first game together. So I really can't put my finger on it. I know Lovey answering one of the questions pointed out, hey, this is a Jaguars team that's been playing really, really good football of late. And that is true, it is. But at the same time, and you know my comments throughout the season, having watched Lovey Smith play high school football up in Big Sandy, Texas during the playoffs, he's a year younger than me. I have always had a high appreciation and affection for Lovey Smith, what he did in the NFL as an assistant coach, what he did taking the Chicago Bears to the Super Bowl before losing to the Indianapolis Colts and his good friend Tony Dungy, who he worked for in Tampa for a while. But even I had to tell a couple of my friends today, as bad as I hate to say it, Lovey, for whatever reason, I think it's now square in the center after today on the shoulders of Lovey and the coaching staff. And as bad as I hate to say it and see it, I think they're going to have to make a change and move on after next week.
Well, here's the question, and I had a similar conversation, during the course of the game. But look at the hand that he's been dealt. I mean, let's face it, this is not the most talented, proficient team that you could have handed him. I mean, no. Basically, no. I mean, let's be real. Has David Mills advanced like we thought he was going to do? No. Did we think that did we realize in some shape, form, or fashion think that with Pep being the quarterback coach last year that synergy would really evolve this year? Yeah, I think a lot of us had a lot of optimism in the beginning, but I don't be quite candid with you. We can draw up all the X's and O's and all the schemes that you want. Once that whistle blow, it's left up to the people that cross that line, and they have to make the plays. And for the most part, Christian, the injuries have all the players they thought was going to come across do. No, they hadn't. Injuries are part of the NFL, and nobody's feeling sorry for you, and nobody. And I'm not going to make excuses for this team now. I just don't feel like that today, that the team that we saw against up in AT&T Stadium in Arlington, the team that came in here and played the Kansas, that was not the same team today. That was not the same team that went to Tennessee. Yeah, I know Willis was a rookie quarterback, and it wouldn't. But you shut down Derrick Henry, which you can, under the circumstances. But the inspiration, they played inspired football. They played competitive football, and I think that's the thing that's probably most disappointing to me. I asked one of the other guys, had they seen, this is by far got to be the worst performance. Somebody said that the Dolphins game. I said, yeah, but they scored more than 3 points against the Dolphins. I mean, that was bad. We can go back and forth talking about this team performance today, but to only get 3 points at the 5:49 mark of the third quarter, that's your only points to show for the day. And I'm looking out there at the Jacksonville Jaguars. Yeah, that's a good football team. So was Kansas. But I'm sitting there going like, they're not a 31-3 difference between that team and Jacksonville and the Houston Texans. Yeah, they probably are from the trigger man standpoint. Trevor Lawrence is definitely, the best thing that happened to him was to have Peterson now as a quarterback and Urban Meyer's gone. That disaster of a nightmare is over with as far as he's concerned and everything else. And they got Travis Etienne who really, I mean, he went through the Texans today. We saw Derrick Henry go through him, but I mean, Etienne, when they say when you don't tackle, when you don't play fundamentally sound football, and the Texans didn't do it today, he went 62 yards on them today. They had two running backs over 100 yards today. It's beyond me now, and I'm not, and I'm not going to try to make excuses. I think, I appreciate the audience, and I think one thing they're going to appreciate about us, we're going to just tell it like it is. I mean, we're not going to try to sugarcoat it. We're not going to try to make, I'm not going to try to tell you that BS is the new thing on the market right now. I mean, it's just like you want to go buy Bitcoins and, oh, by the way, nothing backing it up. So, points on
Yep.
you. I mean, pick it up from there, Elwin.
Well, again, I think the biggest thing, and that's the reason I have changed my thoughts about Lovey and the coaching staff after today. They had made major progress. Yes, I wouldn't have been surprised at all to see them lose the game, but I felt like they took about 5 steps backwards today from where they had been the last 3 weeks. And at this point, maybe they give Lovey another year. You're right. He was dealt a horrible hand. I still don't think he's been allowed to put a lot of input in. I still believe Nick Caserio is pretty much saying, here's what you got. Let's show me what you can do with it. But at the same time, I think if Lovey stays, you're going to see Pep Hamilton gone. I think you're probably going to see 3 or 4 other coaches gone, and maybe they'll say, okay, Lovey, you got 1 more year. But I also fear that even though this team was coming together before this week, I also fear that they're still not going to have the pieces they need next year, and that even if Lovey is allowed to stay, that he's not going to have the input to get them the pieces they need. Now, the one thing I do know is if they get the number 1 pick, they dang well better draft him a quarterback, because they don't have a starting NFL quarterback on this team. And that's pretty blunt, but that's the truth, and we know it.
Without a doubt. I mean, I was sitting there today next to a few of the colleagues, and really we started talking about quarterbacks. Is it C.J. Stroud? Is it Bryce Young? And the one thing about it, I mean, the performance that Bryce Young had in the Sugar Bowl yesterday. I mean, I actually didn't think Nick was going to allow him to quarterback. I think Nick, the fact that they stayed him and Will stayed there and played and showed up, unlike some of the other guys. And that's not a knock on the other guys that decide to opt out and not play. I think that's their right to protect their investment. But I think Bryce Young, showed up and I take my hat off to him. And I take my hat off the fact that they stayed and they played and he literally showed, like as somebody mentioned to me, he has a pocket presence, something you don't see from Davis Mills. And I said, okay, time out. Let's sort of tether that he's playing. I mean, look at the team that's built around him. I mean, let's face it, you don't get to be the number 1 draft pick coming to a top contender. You come to the bottom of the barrel. So that means the talent around you, probably the talent when you upgrade the talent around what he has at Alabama is nothing considered what he'll be coming to here as the Texans.
No.
I mean, the pieces around him. So, he can have all the quarterback presence he wants with that talent around him. I mean, let's face it. I mean, that's not going to be the talent he's going to have. He's going to have some pieces, but nowhere close to being competitive in the NFL. I mean, that's let's be real about this right now. He's not going to be the savior by himself. They're going to have to come up with some wide receivers. They're going to have to figure out what they want to do from an offensive standpoint. And let me just state this for the fact right now. Bill Belichick's not coming in as a coach.
No.
Okay? So that means whoever you come in to designate as Brady, whoever you coming in to designate as Belichick, and I know everybody's fascinated with the Patriots way, and I've stated for the record on this program and any other place, I always would go against. I go against the tide because the Patriots have won a lot, but the teams that have been able to defeat the Patriots and they have defeated them in that final game, they have really thumped them. And I've always taken my hat off to those teams because they came in and they basically whooped them all the way. No ifs, ands, and buts about it. There was no ambiguity. Oh well, I guess you can forget the David Tyree helmet catch with the New York Giants, but that's all part of the game.
Sure.
But at this standpoint where we are right now, and we are the Texans are on the clock. You and I both know it.
Yep, they are.
They are on the clock right now, and so it's a quarterback. Is it going to be either Bryce Young, or C.J. Stroud. That's
Yep.
pretty much it. I mean, if anybody else want to stand up and raise their hand, I'll be more than willing to look at them. I'll be more than willing to give them a good looking over. But you know what? If they come up with somebody less than either one of those two guys, they better darn well be able to walk on water. They better be able to walk on water, and they better be able to split the Red Sea and bring the people over from Jordan through. Because if they're not ready to do that, I tell you what, Nick Caserio can go ahead and pack his bags up. He can leave because he, with the rest of the coaches, is going to be leaving here at the end of at the end of next week. I'm not really sure when the Turk's going to come for the coaches, but I wouldn't be surprised after next week game. I tell you what, if they play next week in Indianapolis like they played today, I wouldn't be surprised to see a full blown firing right after the game.
No, I wouldn't either. And you mentioned Nick Caserio. I got a news break notification that all of the Texans coaches were being evaluated today. And about 10 minutes after I got that notification, we had a break in the action. I walk into the restroom, and coming in right behind me is Nick Caserio. And he looked like somebody had just stolen his lunch if he was in elementary school. I mean, literally, no look on his face. No look on his face other than just pure, total anger. And I thought, well, I'll try to make it a little better. And I said, Happy New Year, Nick. He looked at me, never smiled, and said, Happy New Year. He was in the coach's booth upstairs for the entire game today. So, yeah, I think it's going to come down. Whatever happens, it's going to come down on Black Monday after the Super Bowl. Like, we usually get 6 or 7 coaches fired on Black Monday. I think that's going to happen for Houston. Whoever gets fired, and there will definitely be some of the coaches that'll be fired, but whoever it is, I think it's coming down 8 days from now.
Yeah. I think you said after the Super Bowl, but it's going to be well before the Super Bowl. Yeah. Hey man, look, let me a couple of things I want to do. Let me hit the spot real quick, then I want to come back because see why I want folks to see the ever-loving Heather, that sits over there and holds the phone for you and do all the other things, and she puts up with our BS in the press break. Let folks get a quick look at it, let her know that she has to put up with us. But anyway, let me hit the spot, and then we're gonna come back and go and bring Heather on and just say, hey, thanks, Heather.
Hello, I'm Ken Ross with the Ken Ross Insurance Agency. There are certain things that are important in our lives: our health, our safety, and our loved ones. With over 40 years of experience, I've seen just how important insurance can be. I value the importance of being a part of my community and being there when they need me. Insurance is important everywhere, but being here in South Texas, it is absolutely essential. From flood, home, auto, and life insurance, let the Ken Ross Agency be your agency of choice.
That's right. Give Ken Ross a call, 281-235-5957. Give him a call and tell him AD told you to give him, tell him, reach out to him and told him to give him a call. Today, Texans go down to the Jacksonville Jaguars 31-3, and it was as bad as that score as indicative of it. They laid an egg today. They took several steps back. Not that they had a whole lot of steps going forward, but they were competitive. But to come forward as being competitive today, they didn't show up. I mean, and they've had the ups and downs this year. The one thing that we've always stated that at least they came to play. Today, they went through the motions of today, and I don't take great joy in saying that, but I thought they just mailed it. I thought they mailed it in today. They went through the motions, and I'm not sure. I'm not sure if Davis Mills he's still waiting to hit an out route today. I don't think he hit an out. I don't think he hit an out route at all today. I mean, he was wide out. I mean, and I think one time down in the red zone, and I particularly paid attention that when they were going to the north end zone, when that ball was snapping and he tried to hit Rex Burkhead on that route, watching his helmet. As soon as he came back, snap came back, his helmet never moved past the left upright of the goalpost that they were going into. They stayed all the way to the left side of the end zone. And I know there was at least a couple other receivers on the other side. I guess they were doing wind sprints, doing calisthenics or whatever, but he never even looked over that side. And all the different things. I mean, it's and when the ball snapped, you got to expect certain things to happen, and and that's growing pains. Yeah, this is his second year. Yeah, we know he did, and that was the one thing that they mentioned. He hadn't played a lot of downs when he was at Stanford, but he's shown the fact that kid from Stanford, bright and all the other things. But at the end of the day, there's a lot of regression going on with Davis Mills. But hey, let's do something real quick. Oh, by the way, folks, stay tuned. Folks will be talking sports coming up on the Houston Roundball Review YouTube channel at 6:00. Chris and the gang, Chris, Andy, Willie Gibson, and all will be on at 6:00. While I'm over here on the AdMax Corner YouTube channel. If you have not subscribed, please subscribe. We appreciate it. Whether you like us or don't like us, go ahead and put the subscription. If you're over there on the Houston Roundball channel, if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe right now. We appreciate it. And while I'm at it now, we'll be up next week. But the AdMax Corner, the Houston Roundball Review, will be in Glendale, Arizona for the Super Bowl 57. We approved again. So, yeah, folks, we're going to Phoenix to see for the Super Bowl 57. And I'll be kicking around with this guy that's sitting there driving down 59 like a bat out of hell. Like a bat out of hell right now. But anyway, before we do that, Elvin, and the sweetest lady, she puts up with all our BS up in the, but she, I want to bring, hey, put the camera on Heather, man. People tired of looking at you. Heather, wave at us. She puts up with all our BS up in the thing and on the road. And, hey, we just want to say thank you. Thank you for putting up with us. It's been a long, long year. But, we're not totally insane. We got our redeeming qualities. And so we just want to say, hey.
Hey, thank you for having me.
All right. We appreciate that. But, hey, Elwin, let's get back. I mean, what about your boys? I mean, how does Jerry? I mean, they got to me, they got a bye week. I mean, they had a minute bye week after Thanksgiving. Now they had the prime game. I mean, to seem like the Cowboys getting the benefit of the doubt as far as these scheduling is concerned.
Yeah, I think they really are. And of course, I see this maybe differently than some people. I think instead of being a blessing, it's somewhat of a curse on them in that it puts more pressure on them when they have those mini bye weeks in addition to the regular bye week. And of course, with Philadelphia losing today, had Dallas not blown that 17-point lead they had in Jacksonville against the Jaguars and won that game, Dallas could have won next week and right now could have been tied instead of one game out and could have technically wrapped it up today. But the Eagles, of course, got beat today. And I talked to my buddy Mike Malarkey about 15 minutes before we came on the air, who's been a team photographer for the New York Giants for 42 seasons. And he told me the Giants are getting healthy. And they won, of course, 38-10 today over the same Indianapolis Colts that the Texans will be facing next week in Indy. And he feels like the Giants, with Brian Daboll as the head coach, are going to make a serious run, and they may. But with things shaking out like they are, they will play the Eagles to close out the season next Sunday, while the Cowboys will be playing the Washington Commanders, who got beat today. So the bottom line on it is, Dallas, we didn't think 3 weeks ago when Philly was 12-1 and Dallas was 10-3 there was any possible hope. And all they're a Dallas win and an Eagles loss away from winning the NFC East. So, you know, they're in a good position. But like I tell all of my friends, I have drunk Kool-Aid for many years. I'm not drinking the Kool-Aid yet. I got to see them win a playoff game before I start believing in that Kool-Aid. Right now, if I drink the Kool-Aid, I'm afraid it might be a Mount Carmel in Waco, Branch Davidian Kool-Aid.
Okay. I hope folks have the reference to Branch Davidian. Anyway, those of us old enough to understand that, and you know, and that's not making light of the situation of the Branch Davidian. That's just a clarity. They're just trying to put a finer point on the situation. The Cowboys they're gonna have to come up and play us because, like I say, and you know what, a lot of these top contending teams at the end of the day, and you know, basically say it's not pretty, but at the end of the day, they got a win is a win, and you got to take a win. Yep. It's just like Parcells say, you are what your records say that you are. And the Texans are 2-13-1. They went 0-7-1 at home. I mean, I was hoping today that we would at least, you know, the times that we've had, you know, I've been on the road with the Texans. I was hoping that Lovett would be able to have some nice words of compliment about how the team played at home, right. At least get a home victory. But the Texans went over. They went 0-7-1. Hey, it is what it is. So we'll, you know, so maybe they you know, between him and Jeff Saturday, I'm not sure who, you know, if they're gonna challenge each other to a 40-yard dash or a 15-yard shuttle, whatever the case might be. But hopefully that won't be a tie next week. But if that turned out to be a tie, it really is gonna be something. But anyway, hey guys, I tell you what, as always, man, I know I appreciate you. We getting ready to put a wrap and put a bow on this puppy. Well, I'm gonna put a bow on this pig because that's what it was today. I mean, it's this wasn't put in the pen and fed nice growing mash today. This was slop. This was slop, and slop was handed today. And it's no ways of getting around it. I'm not going to try to make it sound any better than what it was, but it was as bad as what the score is indicative. In fact, it was so bad that Trevor Lawrence went to the bench in the third quarter. I mean, basically for the most of the fourth quarter and in part of the third quarter, they put Trevor Lawrence on the bench. So they had to back up quarterback, and the Texans didn't get any closer. So, hey, man, as you head down the road, appreciate it. Again, Happy New Year to everybody. Thank you for each and every one of y'all that keeps showing up. It would be a lot easier to talk about wins and all the other little niceties and necessities. But you know what? One day we'll be able to do that. We got one more game, regular season game, the Indianapolis Colts next week. And then we got the playoffs. And then, like I say, Houston Roundball will review. And the AdMax Corner will be on its way to Glendale, Arizona. We're talking about Super Bowl 57. So, Elwin and Heather, stay careful, be safe. Again, Happy New Year. Be careful going down the road. And we'll be in touch as we get ready to shut this thing down, man. Y'all take care. All right. And I'll be talking to you down the road, man.
All right. Thanks, AD. Again, enjoyed it again today.
All right. You take care, man.
Will do, brother.
Yep, folks, that's it. As we get ready to put a little knot around this thing called the Texans today. Again, final score. The Texans go down to the Jacksonville Jaguars 31-3. The Jaguars snapped a 9-game losing streak to the Texans. The Texans home record 0-7-1. Didn't win a home game at all. The victories they had one tie at home. They got a couple of road victories, and then the rubber match between the Texans and the Indianapolis Colts that they tied at the first game of the year here in the NRG. They'll be up in Lucas Stadium in Indianapolis, and we'll see exactly what's going to transpire with that. Again, I'd like to say, if you have not subscribed to the AdMax Corner YouTube channel, please do. If you have not subscribed to the Houston Roundball Review channel, please do so. We would appreciate it. Well, and if you like us, put something in the comment section. Don't like, put something in the comment section. Like I say, we're just having fun and just trying to be truthful and give you the balance of our opinion and what we think and what we see. We're not going to sugarcoat it. We're going to just tell you, because we're not going to treat you as some little infantile idiot thinking we know it all and we don't, because you've been seeing the same thing that we see out there. We just got the advantage of being able to have the access to get inside and get the information and try to bring it back to you all, the listeners. And and again, I am most appreciative of the listeners. I'm most appreciative of Ken Ross Agency. Don't forget 281-235-5957 as we get ready to call this a day. And don't forget, folks, with the weather being what it is, if you had not got your pneumonia shot, flu shot, COVID shot, go get them. It's still going to be, we still got some tough weather sledding to go here. And so without further ado, from NRG Stadium, this is your man, Adolphus A.D. Moore, signing off. Peace, ciao, and I'm out of here. I'm heading to the house.